Pinterest Inc. Pins last month volatility was 4.52%. Don't ignore this blaring warning signal. Pinterest Inc. NYSE. Pins established initial surge of 3.96% at $24.95, as the stock market unbolted on July 29, 2020. During the day, the stock rose to $25.16 and sunk to $24.24 before settling in for the price of $24 at the close. Taking a more long-term approach, Pins posted a 52-week range of $10.10 to $36.83. This publicly traded company's shares outstanding now amounts to $576.30 million, simultaneously with a float of $399.50. The organization now has a market capitalization sitting at $14.69 billion. At the time of writing, stock's 50-day moving average stood at $22.84, while the 200-day moving average is $20.42. Let's gauge the efficiency of the firm, which has a total of 2,217 employees. It has generated $515,454 per worker during the last fiscal year. Meanwhile, its income per employee was -$614,060. The stock had 4.25 receivables turnover and 0.64 total asset turnover. For the profitability, stock's gross margin was +68.59, operating margin was -121.54 and pre-tax margin of -119.08. Pinterest Inc. Pins ownership facts and figures. Sometimes it is also beneficial to study the sentiment of large-scale investors towards the stock of the Pinterest Inc. industry. Pinterest Inc.'s current insider ownership accounts for 0.70%, in contrast to 68.80% institutional ownership. According to the most recent insider trade that took place on July 21, this organization's chairman, president, CEO, Co-F sold 58,559 shares at the rate of 25.76, making the entire transaction reach $1,508,609 in total value, affecting insider ownership by zero. Preceding that transaction, on July 21, company's co-founder and chief design and CR sold 61,962 for $25.85, making the whole transaction's value amount to $1,602,015. This particular insider is now the holder of zero in total. Pinterest Inc. Pins earnings and revenue records going through the last 3 months' fiscal report unveiled on the March 30, 2020. It has been observed that the corporation posted 10 cents earnings per share (EPS) during the time that was less the consensus figure, set at 9 cents by 1 cent. This company achieved a net margin of -119.13 while generating a return on equity of -94.06. Wall Street market experts anticipate that the next fiscal year will bring earnings of -0.07 per share during the current fiscal year. Pinterest Inc. NYSE. Pins trading performance indicators. Let's observe the current performance indicators for Pinterest Inc. Pins. Its quick ratio in the last reported quarter now stands at 11.60. The stock has managed to achieve an average true range (ATR) of 1.18. Another valuable indicator worth pondering is a publicly traded company's price-to-sales ratio for trailing 12 months, which is currently 12.11. In the same vein, PINS's diluted EPS earnings per share trailing 12 months is recorded -3.14, a figure that is expected to reach -0.14 in the next quarter, and analysts are predicting that it will be 0.06 at the market close of 1 year from today. Technical analysis of Pinterest Inc. Pins. Now, what if we examine the latest scores posted by Pinterest Inc. Pins? During the last 5 days, its volume was lower the volume of 13.89 million it reported in year-ago period. During the previous 9 days, stock's stochastic %D was recorded 28.60% while its average true range was 1.10. Raw stochastic average of Pinterest Inc. Pins in the period of the previous 100 days is set at 83.76%, which indicates a major rise in contrast to 36.68% during the last 2 weeks. If we go through the volatility metrics of the stock, in the past 14 days, company's historic volatility was 43.19%, that was lower than 73.46% volatility it exhibited in the past 100 days period.